Hello, welcome to a journaling video. Today I'm going to give you the overview of the journals that I'm using, what they're for, and my notebook crisis that is coming to an end, I think. We'll find out kind of as I do this. I'm still kind of figuring it out, in all honesty. I have a lot of notebooks that I'm using right now, but I'm trying to minimize it. So I'm going to kind of give you a rundown of what each one is for and whether or not I'm going to keep it in my setup or not, but that's the gist of it. I have a bunch of trinkets here. These are some new things that I got, so I want to show them really quickly. These are little salt spoons that come in these little crystal dishes for like salt and sugar, but I just like the spoons. And then a little basket. This is a cool little grandfather clock owl. I like this one. These are my ghosties that I sell. Little ghosty sculptures. If you want to get some, they are linked below. Just little figurines to collect. A little spilt milk thing. Another cool spoon. Look at that. This little worm. And some salt and pepper shakers. But I'm just going to keep those there for decoration, I guess. Let's get into it. It's been chaotic lately in my mind/journal world. I just finished a journal insert for my traveler's notebook. So we're going to start here. This has been the main journal that I use for like personal thoughts and sketches and whatever. I make art. I'm an artist and I sell my art online. That's my job. So I have like two different sections of my brain. It's like work art and then personal art. So this has all of my personal thoughts and personal art. And this one has like work stuff, but we'll get to those in a minute. But this one, I finished an insert. Look at this clip. My friend Grace got this for me for my birthday last year. I love clips on my notebooks. So I'm going to show you currently what my setup is. I have a Moterm cover that I just put stickers in, little pockets for more goodies and whatnot. One of these butterfly paper clips. I think that's what they're called, butterfly paper clips. And this is my journal for September. I just did this one yesterday. Did all the cover decorations and stuff. So I have this insert that's brand new, and then I have this sketchbook, which, as you can see, November of 2023. I've had this one in here for a long time. I rarely sketch in here, which I wish I did more sketching. The last time I did was June 6th, and it's like a tiny little sketch, but I don't know. I don't sketch that much in here. And then in the back, I just keep my favorite pencil. This is the Graph Gear 500 in 0.3. And then this is my go-to pen at the moment. The High-Tech, is this Pilot, I think? Yeah, Pilot High-Tech C Coletto 4. So it's a multi-pen, but all the ink is really great, super smooth. I love this pen. I was using this one. Well, I got this one first, and then I stopped liking it. And then I got this one, which is the... I don't know what this one... Oh, the Uniball Style Fit. And I like this one because it has 5 slots. There's a pencil. There's pens that I put in here, and you can customize all of these. So I really liked it, but the body of this pen just doesn't... It's not as comfortable as this one. But I don't have a pencil insert for this one, so I need to get one. But I've started to like multi-pens because you can carry a ton of things all together. Also, if the camera is shaking a lot, I'm super sorry. I have it hooked up to this like arm up here that attaches to my desk. So if the desk moves, you do too. But I'll try to be a little more conscious right now. But anyways, I finished one of these a couple days ago, and I had a little bit of a notebook crisis because I was like, okay, my initial plan for the year was to fill out like one of these per month. Haven't done that. I've only filled out one for the whole year. So this is a new goal, is to finish one every month. So this is what I'm going to try. But before I figured this, or not figured it out, but before I realized I'm going to continue this, I was freaking out because I like when I see people's videos, mainly on TikTok. Most of the people that I watch on YouTube have multiple books, so it kind of like makes me feel okay. I like seeing like someone on TikTok have one moleskin journal and everything's in it. I think it's cool, but I struggle with the balance of super organized in each topic of whatever planner, journal, sketchbook, work planner, school planner, having their own books versus kind of keeping things more condensed into one. But I was trying to figure out if I wanted to do another one of these or like do everything in this book. So right now I've landed on continuing my journal and sketchbook in here because I want to sketch in my journal, but I also want to write in my journal. And I only like writing on grid paper. All of my writing books are on grid. I don't like dot paper. I used to like dot grid, but I don't like it anymore. It doesn't give me as much structure, I feel like. And I think these just look nicer in my opinion. Dot grid is like, I don't know. It's not fun anymore for me. And then I like to sketch on blank paper. I don't like to write on blank paper. And I don't like to draw on grid paper. So I was like, well, what do? I like that these are basically the same book. Like they're all within this cover. So it's one book basically. And I can have 2 different types of paper or 3 if I want to add in something else. But for some reason, I was starting to get a little paranoid because I was like, I'm always scared that I'm going to write something in one of these books and then put it away in my archive and then need to reference it and then not have it on me. That's why the idea of putting everything in one is really appealing to me because then everything's in there. But I also have to think about how often do I ever reference stuff that I've written, and it's very rarely. I typically kind of write things and then I never look back unless it's work related stuff. If it's like art work, I do reference it a lot. Sorry, I'm standing on a stool. I don't know if you can hear it because I'm trying to see if my camera is still recording, and it is. But I don't know. What am I saying? I think I know myself and I know I'm going to get overwhelmed in this. If I put everything in here, like work, journal, sketchbook, I like the idea of it, but I just think for me it's not going to work, which kind of sucks, but also doesn't, because this also feels like me. Like this whole cover feels like me. This book feels like me. I like pockets. I like places to put things. I like separation. I don't know. I just like this. Like this feels like a journal, but it almost feels too much like a journal. I don't know. I don't know how to describe it. It's a weird feeling that I've been having. And I call it notebook crisis because I don't know what to do. But like this system is just so cool to me. Like it also just looks the coolest. Like this looks cooler than just having this, you know? So I ended up picking this, or to continue this really, but I'm still messing around with things, so that's also kind of what this video is going to be about. I'm going to mess around with some stuff. I filmed some clips earlier of me reorganizing like my 2 pencil pouches. I have like a main pencil pouch, and then I have like a smaller one that's like the one that I throw in my backpack when I'm running out the door. And this has like the essentials in here, which I can go through those in a separate video if you want. But yeah, I think I've kind of decided that this is the way to go, at least for personal stuff. But I am trying to limit all of these notebooks down to not have what I have right now, 6 This one I think I've kind of ruled out officially. This is what I call my epicenter journal, and I don't know if anybody else has coined that term or not. I haven't seen it, but that doesn't mean I'm the first person to do it. But I call this my epicenter journal because what I use this one for is anything. I write work notes, work sketches, ideas, mini journal entries, personal sketches, schoolwork, orders, all that stuff I kind of throw in here. And then this is like the one that I take out with me because I don't always want to take a couple notebooks with me. I oftentimes do. I feel like I never go anywhere without at least like 2 notebooks on me. Even if it's just to run down to Target, I always take them with me. And I don't know why I feel the need to have one of these, but I do keep it on my desk just to jot down random notes and stuff. So this one I just use for, like I said, just random stuff. Like this is a quick cartoon thumbnail sketch. I have order stuff and I don't know. Like these are different homework assignments that I have to do, and I just write anything and everything in here. It's kind of like a junk book. But I've kind of ruled this out a little bit. I just keep it over here for when I need to write down quick notes. Because sometimes I don't like using post-it notes and I don't want to stick these everywhere, so at least I can write it in a book, and I have that. But I'm kind of ruling this out because I don't really use it that much, and it's just not practical in the way that I want it to be. It is a practical idea, I think, for someone else, though. I think for me it doesn't work because I end up taking this everywhere I want anyways. But occasionally, if I'm going somewhere where I know I don't want to take this, I will still take this, so there is a notebook to take at any given point. If I'm going to, like, I don't know, I was going to say a party, but I never go to parties, but if I were to go to a party, I would probably take this, because taking this is, like, too much, but this is, like, manageable. Or if I'm going to, like, a theme park, or even, like, to the movies, like, I'm not going to take this, because what am I going to do with it? But this, if I do need to jot something down or I'm bored or something, I will take this. So something's coming with me wherever I go. If I'm going for a bike ride and I'm not intentionally going to go somewhere to journal, I will take this one. But if I'm going to go out somewhere for a few hours, or I know I'm going to go run errands, or I'm going to go shopping with Grace and we're going to go to a coffee shop or something, I will probably be taking this one. And this one, and this one. And I just take my backpack and I put all 3 of them in there. I try to be not so hard on myself. For some reason, I'm like, you don't need to take all these. That's stupid, and you don't need to do this. You're doing too much. But also, who cares? It's my backpack. I'm the one wearing it. And if I want to take 3 journals with me, my back problems are so minuscule to me. I would much rather have back problems from taking my journals than not having my journals and wanting them. So I'm okay with it. But I am trying to limit things down. But yeah, I'm going to put this one to the side because I don't really need it right now. This one is a Hobonichi Weeks, and this one is my school planner, but I'm thinking of making this my journal instead of that insert that's in the Traveler's Notebook. Because the nice thing about the Traveler's system, I made this cover, and I made my own because the official Traveler's Company one only has 2 inserts, like 2 of these rubber band things, and I made one that has 4, so I can put more things in there. I know they have like the extenders, but I don't like that. I like that these are in my book. But I like that I can put this in here. Like if I take out this journal insert, I could easily swap it for this one and put it in here. And I've done this before where I've had this be a system, but I don't know yet. I do like this, and I don't want my Traveler's Notebook to get too chunky. I'm okay with maybe a 3rd insert, but having 4 I typically don't use, but I do like the option to, because sometimes I will. But I'm I don't know. I use this one just as a planner, very simply. Like it's just, all right. Here's some school notes. Like these are like just like lecture notes that I take in the back because I got the Mega, so I have a ton of space in here. So I've ended up taking my notes in here, and I have still like 200 pages left of stuff to use. But I just plan it out, very simply. And that's all that this is. I do think I was using this as like a journal at the beginning of the year. Let me see. Yeah. Or this is like the end of the year. I was using it more for personal stuff. Like personal planning and task lists. I was doing that, and then I quickly made it for school. But I did try it, and it's fun, but I don't know. This one's very limiting. The weeks version, it's pretty much just for planning, and if I'm going to plan, I thought I liked to plan on paper, but I'm realizing I don't think I do. I think I like to plan on Notion more, and lately I've been planning my weeks out in Notion. Like at the start of every week, I write everything down in my Notion, then I organize it, and I think there's just more freedom to move things around, and I often move stuff around a lot. I don't stick to schedules that I write, but I do like to make them. So Notion lets me like move everything around. And if I'm going to plan for stuff, I plan it in my hobonichi cousin. So this one I don't have a use for other than school. So I've been using it for school. I do like the size of these. I think they're really nice. And I do like seeing people journal in these. And I have tried before to journal in here and use it as like a commonplace. But it kind of never works out. But look how satisfying it is. Like, I think it's pretty satisfying. I'm not gonna lie. Like, it just looks so nice as like a commonplace organization. I like the size of it. So, I don't know. I'm gonna mess around with this one with the Traveler's Notebook system for the next week or so and kind of see what works. And again, this can always go in here, but I don't know. My mind is crazy right now. Along with that, I have a hobonichi cousin. This one I'm using as, or I was using, I don't really use it that much anymore, as my planner for planning art, planning work. The thing is, the weekly sections on here are just so hard for me to use. I often don't end up using them. Like all of these are blank. I did end up finding a system, like a layout that worked really well. And this was kind of the one book that I was using for the whole year. At the beginning of the year, I was pretty much only in this book. And I would plan out my weeks, and then I could also plan out the months. So I would spend a lot of time in here planning the weeks. Sorry, I just got confused because it says therapy at 11 a.m. even though I didn't start therapy until like 3 months ago, so I don't know why that says that. But I would plan everything in here, important dates, and then weekly to-do stuff. But then I ended up realizing that like I like the idea of planning on paper. However, it's much more convenient for me to plan digitally because I end up looking at my phone more than I am a book. And if I'm out and about, like if I have to plan something, someone's like, hey, do you want to do something on this day? I can't look at this, I have to have the book with me. Whereas on my phone, it's just on my phone. I can look at it. But yeah, I don't know. I tried it again last week, or no, at the beginning of August, and it just didn't really work out again. I did 1 week and then flopped. But I also was using these daily pages as journal entry spots. And right now, when I was trying to figure out what journal I wanted to use, I was using this as a contender because I was trying to figure out if I can draw in here. I don't like to draw in here, though. It just doesn't, like if I were to make a cool drawing in here and then take a photo of it, to me, it's just not aesthetic enough, I guess. I find it to be too distracting with the days and the quotes down here and the moon cycles and the calendar and all this stuff. But again, similar to the hobonichi weeks, I do find these so satisfying to look at and like look through. I'm going to cover these things up just because I don't know what I'm writing in here, but like they're so satisfying to look at. Like this page specifically, I love this page, and it does look nice and it's super organized because I was following the way that I think Megan Rhiannon was doing it. I think I saw her doing it this way, or I saw somebody doing it where they cut it in half right under this 3 for the schedule, and the top half is used as commonplace and the bottom half is what's pertaining to the date up here. So up here has nothing to do with the date. You can see I wrote this on January 3rd. Even though this is January 11th, I wrote it on January 3rd, and this is a commonplace section to write whatever, and then down here is what pertains to the day. So on January 11th, I wrote this down here with this little photo. But up here is commonplace. And at the front of the book, there's the index, which I was using to then organize everything. So I would write down all of the notes for the commonplace sections up top here, what they were for, and then I could organize it here. But this lasted till, I don't know when, like the end of January, I think, is where I stopped. Like here I am planning for one of the sculpture videos that I was doing, and I kind of stopped here, and then that's when the Traveler's Notebook system kind of came into play. But I don't know, I really do love this book, and every once in a while I pick it up and I try to use it again, but it just never really sticks. But I don't know, I try, but it's just not working that well. It's also just a little too big. I do feel like I'm nervous sometimes to fill out all these pages on all this space. I don't know, I'm stuck, for real. Like, I would like to use this, but the thing is, carrying this is just so big. So I think that's also one of the reasons why I decided not to do it. It's just too big. The Traveler's Notebooks, like the inserts, are just the perfect size for me, I think. And if I want to continue writing, I can continue writing. An A6, like this one, is too small for me to journal in. I don't feel like I can express myself, even if I have, a ton of pages to write in here. I feel like I can't express myself the way that I want to because the pages are so small, despite how many pages I use. Whereas in here, these pages are like perfect size, and I often use like 1 page per journal entry. Yeah, that's kind of what I do. But I don't know. I think I'm going to use this for now, and we'll see what happens. But there is a new Hobonichi cousin that has like the perfect cover. They just released the new 2025 ones, and I really want the Hobonichi cousin Han. And it's the one that it's a fox riding a bike with a moon in the basket of the bike at night. And if you know me, I love foxes. The moon is like my favorite thing. I have a character based on the moon. I just got a bike, and I've been talking about my bike nonstop. It was like made for me, so I'm going to get it. I know I will, and I might just have to pick up paper planning again next year, or start journaling in there, and have a separate sketchbook or something. I don't know what I'm gonna do, but I need to get that cover because that cover is so cool. But if they didn't have the cover, I wouldn't be getting it, and I would probably just retire this one. I did use a Hobonichi cousin for 2023, and it worked well, but right now it's not working for me. So I just keep it on my shelf because every once in a while I pick it up. But that's that one. These two over here are much simpler. This one is a Moleskine expanded in blank, It's just blank paper. And I use this one to plan out anything work related. I do comic strip sketches in here, other little doodles for work. Here was where I designed this year's ghosties, which again, you can get them down below if you want to get them and support me in my art. But I plan out my art stuff in here. All of Asteroids Universe is in here, or at least some of it for this year. And I was going to use this to put everything in there because I have so much room left in here, and the year is in its like final portion. But I don't know. I don't think I'm going to do that. But these two are kind of like, this is the epicenter of my personal, and this is the epicenter of work. And then from here, there are extensions such as the Hobonichi cousin, and then this one right here. And this one's very specific. This is just for writing a book that I'm writing called Asteroids Rodeo, which you can also read. I'm releasing it chapter by chapter every couple weeks. So chapter 3 is out now of Asteroids Rodeo. And in here, I just do all the planning. Probably not going to show you anything because it's all like top secret. And it'll spoil the rest of the book. But that is just for writing the book. I write notes, storyline notes, sketches, stuff like that in there. But it's only pertaining to Asteroids Rodeo stuff. Nothing else goes in there, really. But yeah, I don't know. When I go out now, like if I were to go out right now and go to a cafe, I'm only going to bring these two, which is much better than bringing all of these books, because this one's for school. So if I'm not going to work on schoolwork, I won't bring this. This one just kind of lives up here on my shelf. And then this one I'm just not using that much right now. So that's what's going on, I guess. Yeah, I don't know. If anybody has any advice on like how to stop feeling so stuck all the time with notebooks, please comment. I'm always like trying to find something new, and I don't know if that means something doesn't work, but this does work for journaling. I don't know. That's just what I'm doing right now. I'm going to throw in some footage after this of just like organizing supplies and whatnot. But I think that's all I have to talk about for now. Those are the journals that I'm using. Yeah, if you have any questions, comments, tell me what journals you're using right now, what systems are working for you, in the comments below. If you want to buy my art, you can buy some ghosties. I also make stickers and prints and sculptures and t-shirts, tote bags, a ton of cool stuff like that. So if you want to buy any of that, you can check down below in the description. You can follow me on Instagram, Twitter. No, I don't use Twitter really. So you can follow me on Instagram, TikTok, Tumblr, and here on YouTube. Those are like the 4. Oh, and I have Patreon. If you want to support me on Patreon and get monthly print stickers and letters and get extra videos and journal entries, I post all that stuff on Patreon too, so you could join it. It's free, but there are paid tiers if you want to get the monthly rewards sent to you. But yeah, that's all for today. I'm going to put in some footage at the end so you can journal along with me and hang out for a minute, take a breather. But that's it for today. So I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.
questioning what you like and what you don't like. If you do a Google search and don't find what you like, you can refine, and then you get a really good understanding about what you're looking for because you've had to refine it, if that makes sense. I think part of finding inspiration is not about what you find, it's about like finding it, the journey of finding it. Filling the well needed beyond novelty. Cooking can fill the well. When we chop and pare vegetables, we do so with our thoughts as well. Why do I get my best ideas in the shower? An exasperated Einstein said to her remark. Brain research tells us this is brain showering is an artist brain activity. This is me. My idea for my picture book soon came to me in the shower. I drew it on like the glass. Then I started thinking about how can I make chores like this me time? How can I add value to chores? If I start seeing them, because you know that I've struggled with like cleaning and like I'm on that path right now. And I feel like since reading this, I have really like appreciated the time spent doing chores and like how slowed down it makes me. And then obviously like the benefit of having the clean space afterwards. When they talk about like artist brain activities, it's usually in these moments of driving or like these automated activities that you're used to doing. So I feel like this is how habits and routine can like foster that kind of thinking, because when you create habits of like cleaning or habits like that you do every single week, you're giving yourself that time to just like really get into the flow state. Many artists have found it useful to keep a notepad or tape recorder next to them as they drive. Steven Spielberg thinks that his very best ideas have come to him when he was driving the freeways. And this is when I started talking about like maybe we should watch videos when we're in the shower, maybe we should listen to podcasts and stuff when we're in between things. Maybe we need to give ourselves that space to like have these creative brainstorms with ourselves, even though they're not like active, they're kind of subconscious. It's like we're trying to figure out. It's almost like morning pages throughout the day in your mind. Our focus and attention is critical to filling the well. We need to encounter our life experiences, not ignore them. And once you remember, this book was made in the 90s. This is before like internet was like widely used for what it's used for today. Yes, our focus